Yeah, we ready to go? Okay, give me the high sign. Good. If everybody can take their seats, we're going ahead and begin this meeting regarding Devonwood McFadden Drive dam improvement discussion. This meeting is currently lightly attended, but we're recording this, so in case somebody wasn't able to make it to the meeting and they have questions, perhaps we can provide them answers. They can watch this on our website. So thank you for those who are here in person, and for those citizens who may be watching this later at home. Please, if you do have questions, get them to us, and we'll do our best to answer them. I'm Christoph Maurer, Deputy City Manager for the City of Fayetteville, and with us tonight we also have Mayor Robertson and Councilmember Arp also in the room listening to the concerns of the citizens that we have with us. And we're going to have just a brief discussion. We're going to focus tonight on Devonwood. Now, the city has 55 dams inside of the city limits. Of those, 6 are maintained by the city, and 4 are maintained by the Public Works Commission, the city's utility. So that means there are 45 private dams out there, a number of them which were damaged by Hurricane Matthew. Tonight we're talking about this one, which is Devonwood, and this is one of the dams that are actually maintained by the city. We've had to go through a pretty complex process to clarify what the city's role would be with regard to private dams and public dams. This one is, again, one of those dams that is publicly maintained. The majority, 45, are not. They are actually private dams, and that's a more complex issue. Our previous policy that we had in place did not have provisions for us to accept federal funds and utilize those federal funds even for the dams that we did maintain. So we had to go through the process of clarifying how we moved through the process of acquiring that federal funds, and how we use local funds in the interim until we receive reimbursement from federal funds. Specific to this lake, and we're going to give you some more information about it, but one of the specific issues specific to this one is that we actually stepped in after Hurricane Matthew and went out there and did a little bit of work to stabilize some of the erosion that happened on the back face of the dam itself. FEMA came out and took a look at it, and they thought we did such a good job that they actually think the dam has been fully repaired. Because they think it's been fully repaired, they've actually decided currently that it was not damaged by Matthew and therefore is not eligible for FEMA reimbursement. So what we're doing with this lake that's a little unique is we're in the process of using city funds to do a deeper evaluation of the dam to see if we can successfully document that the dam does still need repair, that it was damaged by Hurricane Matthew and therefore is eligible for FEMA reimbursement. So that's where we are in the process right now. And to help us through that process, we do have Friesen Nichols with us tonight. They're our project manager for all of these dam discussions. And then once we move into a reimbursement process, they would be the ones who would step in as our project manager. So I'm going to have Mike Watts come up, and he's going to talk to you a little bit about schedule and a couple of other items. One more thing, sorry. We don't have a lot of people in the room, but if anybody has come in and you have a question, we do have question cards here, and we'll be going through all your questions and answering all your questions as we have a conversation.
Which button on the mouse? That one. All right, thank you, Christoph, and thanks for those that you did come. I appreciate that you are concerned and care about the project in your neighborhood. As Christoph said, I'm Mike Waits with Friesen Nichols. We are an extension of the city staff in this case as their project managers. The agenda we have tonight is, one, Christoph mentioned they've been working on developing a new dam policy that's been passed by council, and I want to talk to you about how Devonwood Dam specifically, how this relates to Devonwood Dam. Also want to go over the schedule on the project, and then we have Q&A, and I think we said this a few times, but there are comment cards out there. We are recording this. If you have any neighbors, friends that couldn't make it here tonight, please direct them to the website to watch it. And we're doing a pretty diligent job of taking your comments, reading the ones regarding Devonwood Dam out loud and answering that so that everybody on the website can see those. So jumping into the policy, Devonwood Dam is a city-maintained dam, and let's use Hurricane Matthew as the example. moving forward, if there is a Hurricane Matthew, there's a state and there's a federal disaster declaration, the city would move forward, do the repairs, and expect to get it reimbursed by FEMA. You did hear what Christoph said, that they did such a good job on their early repairs that it's questionable whether there's any additional work to be done there. Moving forward in the future, what this policy means is the city is providing ongoing maintenance and repairs. And also, if you do have any comment cards that get filled out while I'm presenting, if you could raise those up in the air, we'll have people grab those and we can start preparing for the Q&A. Regarding schedule, the city brought us in, started talking to us in April of 2017 to help them with the dam projects. They also went out for an RFQ, which stands for Request for Qualifications. The city can't just go out and hire anybody they want. They have to do it in a very structured process due to state and federal regulations. It has to be transparent. Everybody has to be given an opportunity to compete for that work. So they sent that RFQ out. Interested firms, interested engineering firms that felt they were qualified submitted proposals in May. The city reviewed those proposals. They shortlisted candidates. They did interviews of those, and in this particular case, they felt that WK Dixon was the most qualified firm to do the design work, and that was decided in June of this year. Since June and into July, the city has been working with WK Dixon on developing the scope of work for this project, and along with an associated schedule and a fee to do that. And then this gets to the point that Christoph made, is their initial first step scope is going to be field and geotechnical evaluations. They're going to want to take boring samples, take those to a lab. They want to see what's the strength of the soil, what's the seepage of the soil, what kind of soil are we dealing with, and see if there's anything below the surface that may have been damaged by Hurricane Matthew that does need additional design, permitting, and construction that FEMA could reimburse the city for. So our path forward depends on that first step investigation. If they do this investigation and the consultant arrives at the conclusion that the dam meets state and federal guidelines, and they submit that to the city, we concur, and they submit that to the state's dam safety board, and they also concur, then this lake could be filled back up and the project's complete. If they reach the opposite conclusion, that there are some hidden issues there that need further design, permitting, and construction, and the State Dam Safety Board concurs with that, then we would move forward with additional scope of work for WK Dixon, and we would come in as the city's project managers. And with that, I'm going to move to the question and answer. Did you get any cards, Charles?
We did.
All right.
All right, good evening. I'm Charles Archer. I'm also with Friesen Nichols, the project manager for this project on behalf of the city. Any more questions?
I'll bring you a card.
Okay, thank you. Right now we have 3 and a 4th question on the way, so let's get started with the first question. And Rob, this is probably one for you. It says, are the 55 dams damaged in the city, or is this a total in the county?
The 55 that Christoph mentioned were the total number of dams in the city. So not all of those were damaged, but that's the total number we have in the city.
The next question is, what happened to the dam? Where exactly is the dam? When will repairs be started and completed, and how much will traffic on McFadden Drive be impacted? Rob, you want to?
So what happened to the dam is what happened to similar dams in the city. The water came in at a rate that the spillway was not capable of handling, and as the water topped the dam, the water creates a vortex behind it, and it actually erodes away the back of the dam, and that's what destroys the dam, and it eventually breaches. With this one, this is as we mentioned, it's the Devonwood Lake Dam. It's off McFadden Drive. And again, the schedule is what we mentioned before. That'll depend on once we have done the geotech study up front. After that, that's going to depend on when the schedule is, because once you get past that point, If it's determined it will need extra work, then it will be sent to the design piece, and that's where we look at the time schedule of about 6 months or so for design, and then approximately a year or so for repairs depending on the scope. So again, we won't know the final idea until we actually get through the design piece, see how much was damaged. And how much will traffic on McFadden Drive be impacted? Right now, it's not being impacted much at all. If they start construction, it will be diverted. McFadden Drive will have to be closed as they work on it when they get to that point, and so the traffic will be diverted throughout the neighborhood. So I think that was all.
Thank you, Rob. And the next question is, and Mike, I'll refer this one to you. Are the current repairs enough to pass state inspection?
That's the part that we don't know at this point. FEMA, as Christoph mentioned, came out, looked at it, said looks good to us, but the State Dam Safety Board is the one that makes that decision. So this initial field investigation, geotechnical investigation, is going to take about a month, and at the end of that month, we'll have that answer.
I think we have one more question coming.
Go ahead and take it. We have one more question, actually about a storm drain in the area that was damaged, and we'd love to meet with you individually and have a more detailed discussion. We believe that's been a problem that's been ongoing for a period of time and wasn't directly related to Hurricane Matthew. So we'd like to sit down with you and spend a little more time detailed and look specifically at your issue, but it's not part of this project.
Are there any other questions from anyone in the audience, anyone in the room? How many were damaged out of the 55?
We got a follow-up question about the 55 dams in the city and how many were actually damaged. The challenge is that we haven't done assessments of all those 55 dams. We've received notifications from a number of different dams that Department of Environmental Quality, is that the right agency? DEQ has given us some notifications of a number of them where they're concerned and that they have notified their property owners that they need to be assessed. But that all happens with the private property owners. The city doesn't get involved in those directly. So a lot of those conversations are happening. Some of them we know about, some of them we don't. So we don't have a good count as to how many private facilities have actually been damaged. Of those 45 that are private, we don't have good information about which one of them are in good shape, which of them were damaged, and which of them have simply been deteriorating over time because they were underbuilt for the purpose intended.
Sure.
All right. This question, it says, storms fill the lake and empties fast. Does this do more damage to the dam? If based on this initial geotechnical investigation, they find that there are some deficiencies that a further design and construction needs to be taken care of, they will design those improvements to minimize this risk. So they'll look at how much water is coming in, how much is going out, how fast it's going, how deep it's going, and they'll put appropriate material in those conveyance structures to protect it from this type of erosion and ongoing damage.
I just want to make one point. Is there anything else before we close? No other questions. At just one point, I just want to make that right now, we're in this process of doing an initial investigation. If we don't get past this hurdle, if we can't convince FEMA that there's actually a problem that was created by Hurricane Matthew that we need to solve, then the activity will not move forward with any further design. Basically, that assessment and that discussion with FEMA is an initial step that has to be successful in order for us to move on to design and then construction, repair, or other impacts on this lake. If that is not successful, then it'll basically stay in the condition it's in now. Okay. If there aren't any other questions, you want to close?
First of all, thank you all for attending this evening. Thank you for your questions. There'll be follow-up meetings scheduled as needed on this project with the community, and there are weekly updates made to the project. If you visit the city's website, it's fayettevillenc.gov/roads. You go to that page, you'll see a link to your dam and to Devonwood, and you just click on that, and you'll get a project status update that's updated weekly and as needed. So with that, we appreciate you all coming out tonight, and please drive home safe. Thank you.